Welcome to the Black Entrepreneur Experience Podcast, inside the business, buzz, and brilliance of Black entrepreneurs. Here is your host, Dr. Frances Richards.
This is a bonus episode.
Thank you for joining us as we elevate the Black entrepreneur experience by interviewing CEOs, thought leaders, innovative thinkers, and Black entrepreneurs across the globe. I'm your host, Dr. Frances Richards. From the locker room to the boardroom, former NFL player, CEO, national motivational speaker, author, and life coach. When he isn't writing or browsing Netflix, you can catch him taking his own pictures as an amateur photographer and road trip enthusiast with a fondness for classic rock, the blues, tacos, and burgers. Welcome, Shawn Harper.
Hey, thank you for having me, and thank you for the introduction. I love that.
I've given our audience such a brief bio. Why don't you fill in the gaps and share with our audience what you'd like them to know about you and your business?
Well, my name is Shawn Harper. As you had mentioned, I played 7 years professional football. And what I was able to do was to take the skill set, the knowledge, the mindset of playing professional football and incorporating it into the business world, from the locker room to the boardroom. I play to win, and I was hit with tons and tons of adversity growing up, from learning disabilities, graduating last in my class with a 1.62 accumulative GPA, 9 on my ACT. I had to know to take it. And just tons of adversity till what happened is that it led me to a moment. And that moment was the decision that I could not be successful, but I can win. And the moment I moved from a success mindset to a winning mindset, I kind of MacGyvered life, right? And I was able to look at things from a different perspective, look at things from a win-loss perspective. And I was introduced to my number one competitor. And my number one competitor is myself. And I began to push myself and challenge myself to that 212 mindset. And the rest is history. I was able to go on to play at Indiana University, draft day in the NFL, third pick in fourth round, 7 years, studied my entire life. I'm a motivational speaker, and the list goes on and on. Now I'm at the point now where I want to create or inspire other winners to do the same.
Define winning.
Right. So winning is the fullest expression of who you are physically, mentally, socially, of course, financially, but most important, legacy. That is your win. And when we're born, in fact, we're born winners. Like everyone listening to this podcast, you're a 1 to 2 to 3 million sperm cells. Think about that. You fertilized the egg. You won. It wasn't about success. It was about winning. And when we were growing up, at least when I was growing up, the games that we played were win-lose, race in the street, hide and seek, football, just tag. It was win-lose. Around the third or fourth grade, about the time you find out that Santa Claus is not real, another concept is introduced, and that concept is called success. And then they prescribe what it is to be successful. Think about that. You have to make a certain amount of money. You got to live in a certain subdivision. You have to have, this much or a certain credit score, this type of car, especially people of color. It's like they have stripped us of so much that they place us in a reactionary state. And as long as you are reacting, you can never proact. Now they're defining what it is to exist, and they're defining what it is to be successful. They're trying to tell us who we already are, and they'll dangle it like a carrot. The second thing I don't like about success versus winning, or I choose winning over success, is that as a man of faith, God didn't call you to be successful. God called you to win. God called you to fulfill your divine given purpose, not only to produce, but reproduce. There's a difference. Now think about this for a second. People of faith, and you read the Bible, there are characters in the Bible that you might not consider successful. Like you don't consider John the Baptist successful, do you? Right? He got beheaded. Oh my God, he ate locusts. Really? He lived in the woods. He's not successful. God said he was the greatest of all prophets. And the list, Nehemiah, the list goes on and on. We have to divorce ourselves from the success mindset to the winning mindset. If life is a game, I'll say it again, you play to win.
Speaking of winning, talk about that most memorable moment in life or business?
Wow. The most memorable moment is not the most exciting moment. it's what happened is that I retired from the NFL and I had bought into my brother's security firm. And through the course of events, the firm was turned over to me and my brother-in-law. Well, my brother-in-law one day literally left town, and I'm sitting there around 2004 with an entire company. I have audits. I have no money in the bank. There's contracts. My security officers are not showing up. And I have several people, staff members, looking to me for leadership. And I sat inside of a glass office and I put my hand in my head and I said, I don't know what to do. That was probably one of the scariest moments of my entire life. But I was able to forge and to fight through, covering in the blessing of God. And that was years ago. And the rest is history. That moment sticks out to me so much. There's a lot of great moments, but that moment for this podcast, that transformational moment, was extremely powerful.
And what did you do?
Well, I failed a lot. I stumbled a lot. But the one thing I didn't do is quit. You know, it's funny because the average millionaire files for bankruptcy 3.2 times, according to Google. And we all know Google's right? And so but the one thing that I was able to do was to have tenacity, to have drive, and to basically get back on the bike. You know, it's like we all fall off the bike. That's how we learn, right? We learn by failing. Failure is your friend. And I tripped, I scraped my knees, I blew contracts, I blew opportunities. The naysayers were like half a mile long, and I was scared, but I did not quit. I kept fighting and I kept fighting and I fought through the adversity. The thing about adversity is this: it will break you. It breaks people every single day, but it also can make you a record breaker. And through time, I wore it down and I took every failure and I learned from it and I got back up. And sometimes I had to get up by myself because there's no one around you. And I kept fighting and I got stronger and I took power from the adversity.
I want you to have a monologue.
Okay.
I want you to name the person, living or not. And this person has inspired you so much. Okay.
Mama.
What are you saying to Mama?
Thank you. Now, you know what? Don't make me tear up right now, okay? I just buried her 2 weeks ago. So you have to make me tear up right now. So you just check it out, right? Is that my mom, she raised all 6 of us on the south side of Columbus, Ohio, right? All 6 of us. One house, one bathroom. She scrubbed floors as a maid. Edith Barksdale Harper. And she taught me grit. She taught me just fighting. And she had opportunities to leave. She had opportunities to give up, you know, because my father walked out on us when I was about 4 years of age. He just got mad and left, and he didn't come back for years. He came back to the company because he got downsized. So we took him back and he became our marketing director for 20 years. That's another story. My mom, she fought. And, you know, it's so funny. I'm about to get in trouble right now, right? And it's okay. But Mama, you know, when we talk about in our culture, when we talk about a strong woman, you know, I'm a strong Black woman, you know, I laugh a lot because lately we equate strength to power. And power is having, you know, the authority to move forward, to conquer, to dominate. I'm a strong Black woman. But you know what? There's a difference between power and strength. And this is what I said in the actual funeral. And this is what I said. I said, power is the humongous cruise ship that moves and it goes through the water. But the strength, the real strength, is power under control. Because when that ship drops its anchor, that little anchor bridles power. It breaks power. It endures power. It endures everything. And my mom was a strong Black woman because she relied on her strength, not her power. And the strength to hold the family together, the strength to endure, the strength to withstand the pressures of society that sent most of us to college in the hood, the strength to stand up against the social norms that try to destroy our family, social programs that try to destroy our family. And she stood up against that. She dropped her anchor. And the secret to her anchor was that she was anchored in Christ. And so That to me is more powerful than power itself. It's the strength to stand and withstand.
And Shawn, our sincere sympathy for your loss.
Yeah.
What is the best decision that you've made as a leader?
I think the best decision that I've made as a leader is to always seek after education, to always grow, to always learn, to always be a student of the game, and to be able to submit to authority, to be able to find people who is basically ahead of me in the game and to yield and to submit to. One of the best decisions I've ever made.
Talk about transitioning from the NFL.
Wow, that's a tough one. That is very tough because the NFL is all encompassing. I mean, it's like, it consumes your entire life if you let it. And I was a victim of that because it's just everything. And you're playing football sometimes since the first, second, third grade. So you're groomed. And now they have systems that groom you. You're going to be a Division I. By the time you're in the fourth grade, if you're good, every college already knows who you are. They're tracking you as early as that in camps all the way through and up into the collegiate ranks and then into the NFL. And you're not Shawn Harper. You're Shawn Harper, the NFL football player. You're Shawn Harper, the college football player. It becomes a part of your identity. And one day it stops. And the spiritual or the emotional inertia keeps moving forward. But it stopped. And you're like, how do I vent? How do I socialize? There's no need for an NFL player to network. Okay. Everyone's trying to network with us. Everybody's trying to get close to us. So there's no need for a college athlete to network. Everyone's trying to network with us. So all the little soft skills, but the average person, we don't develop those skills. And then one day it's over. Now we have to take off the helmet. Now you're no longer the football player. Now you're not getting the VIP treatment. Now you're not 100,000 people. These people aren't screaming your name. You're not getting into, shops or clubs free. And now you have to move in society without that badge and that title. And to be honest, a lot of players don't leave the field. They turn into coaches or they leverage, their name or whatever. But it's really tough. So for me, it was extremely tough to the point that I decided that I'm not going to leave the game. I'm going to take it from the locker room to the boardroom. It's still a game. This suit I have on, this is my uniform. I'm up every morning at 5 o'clock. I'm training. And I was actually able to turn it into a complete brand. And I'm the winologist. I teach people how to win. That's it.
Who is Shawn Harper and what matters to Shawn Harper?
Shawn Harper, first and foremost, is a son of God. And your self-concept is everything. Your self-concept is the crux of your existence, of your wealth, of your being. Is all action stems from thoughts. All thoughts are nestled in your belief system. But your belief system, the foundation of that, is your self-concept. Maxwell Maltz wrote a book called Psycho-Cybernetics years ago, and he talked about that as a plastic surgeon. He saw that there was a huge, there was this thing about people, he would make their face over, but they still said that they were ugly because it was in their self-concept. And the self-concept of me being a son of God is that I'm a winner. That's it. I'm a winner. I am created to win. Now from that, it exudes everything else. What's important to me is reproduction. Yeah, I like wealth. I do. I like freedom because wealth gives me freedom. And wealth allows me to pour and invest in other people and other projects, and particularly the poor, because that's what my mama taught me. She taught me, you always give, live, give, and forgive. That's the mottos that's the motto that she taught me. So freedom, giving, forgiving, and investing in the poor and projects around the world. That's what's important to me.
Is there a social cause tied to your business?
Yeah, I'm on a few boards. And one of the boards that I will mention is called the King's Ransom Foundation out of Dallas, Texas. And we spend a significant amount of time helping women who are sexually trafficked around the world and in the United States. All the funds that come in 100% go right back out. A corporation sponsors, the employees and the lights and everything else, that's already covered. So every dime that comes in goes right back out. 100%, it's audited, it's verified third party, and I love it.
The word is listening. What is that resounding sound or message that your generation is saying we should be listening to?
The word that comes to me is prepare. That word just shot right out of my heart, is to prepare for change and be able to adapt to that change. And that is something that is echoing loud right now, is because there's a lot of energy that is placed in today's media to pacify and to create smoke screens and to create a false sense of reality. But, if you know where to look, if you know how to listen in the spirit realm, you'll understand that things aren't as rosy as they seem. And you have to prepare yourself, and you have to prepare the people who are coming behind you for what is to come or what could possibly come. Prepare.
Shawn, what is your zone of genius?
Listening. I love listening to people. I love hearing what's not being said. I love seeing what's not being seen. Intelligence to me is like a wheel. And because they said I had the disabilities in certain areas, she never allowed me to lean on that. Although the schools were, trying to get intervention programs and special classes. And I remember she slammed her hand down. She was like, no, you will not label my son, to the point that I'm not disabled. I'm uniquely enabled. And I don't see it as a weakness. But what it did is that it forced me to develop amazing listening skills and to be able to see things that aren't seen. And I'll give you an example. When the teachers were in the room and they're writing notes on the board, I was able to basically discern what was going to be on the test by small inflections in their voice, changes in their body language. It's sort of like a blind person having amazing hearing, is that I was able to then now listen and to see things because of the struggles in my other areas. I used those skills, developed those skills to basically compensate. And that's what I do in life, especially as an entrepreneur, because corporate is like a big swimming pool. The big guy's going to jump in the pool and create a splash. The waves, the levels of the waves, the games, the temperature of the water. Everything is like a controlled chaos environment, right? But the ocean is where the entrepreneurs live. And so you have to be able to understand the different waves. You have to be able to see the sun. Okay, if it's red in the morning, there's going to be a storm. If it's red at night, it's going to be a great. Read the stars. Understand that fish a half mile away from you, is it a shark or is it a dolphin? You better understand that. And so you better understand how to listen and how to see. And the stronger you develop those skills along with your team, the better chance you'll do, or the better opportunities you'll have. I'm sorry.
Shawn, you talked about the security industry. What business are you doing now?
I'm the CEO of American Services and Protection. And we're a full-service security firm out of Columbus, Ohio, and I have security officers throughout the state. We do some security consulting, and we do some security installations as well. That's the business that I'm in, and I've been in it for well over 20 years.
Why security?
Well, my brother, as I mentioned earlier in the story, he kind of rode the company over, and then my brother-in-law left, and it fell into my lap, and I just kept running with it since. Sometimes I ask myself that question, why security? Especially now, because sometimes dealing with people is not dealing with people, different generations of people, especially in this economy in the last year and a half. It's really, really interesting. I'm learning a lot, but it's keeping me up at night.
Talk about pandemic, profits, and pivoting.
Some of the greatest wealth in our country is and was made off of paradigms. And if you're on the right side of a paradigm, all the pivoting and the profit takes care of itself. So let me give you an example. 1990, 91, the internet was made available for the first time. And from that paradigm, think about that, man. It's like all these computer companies started grinding. They were like, Yahoo was birthed out of that. Amazon was birthed out of that. It's just Yahoo. It just list goes on and on. Microsoft, everyone just really blew up off of that paradigm. A lot of them didn't make it, but a lot of them did make it. But at the same time, it was a death sentence for a lot of corporations. They didn't realize it. Some of these brick and mortars, 15, 20 years from now, they're not going to be around. The U.S. Post Office is in trouble right now. Which side of the paradigm you're going to fall on? 9/11 was a paradigm. Before 9/11, in Columbus, Ohio, there was an amazing coffee shop. Before the TSA gate. After 9/11, within a year, it closed because people couldn't take coffee through the gate. That's 9/11. The housing crisis 2008 was a paradigm. COVID is an amazing paradigm. And there are people who will not be in business 10 years from now. I feel bad for commercial real estate because people realize that I can work from home and I don't want to go back to the workplace. And bosses are like, I could save a few $1,000s a month and I can let everybody work from home and use a shared space. I got to invest in that. Use shared space to have them come meet once a week, once a month. Just 2 days ago, one of the largest mall owners in the country, right here in Columbus, Ohio, filed for bankruptcy, a mall. That was unheard of 4 or 5 years ago. And it was the place to be. Remember growing up, the mall, gone. Paradigms. And so there's another one, crypto. That's a paradigm. And, some experts are saying that, certain coins could go to $1 million. So you have to make sure you're on the right side of the paradigm because the paradigm ain't going to shift for you. It has shifted. You make sure you're on the right side of that paradigm. And then that takes care of the pivot. Then you grow from there.
What is your weakness as an entrepreneur?
Well, I don't have the best admin skills, but that's a really soft answer. The real weakness that I have as an entrepreneur is ruthlessness. I have such a big heart. And in one sense, it's awesome, but you have to have a certain level of shrewdness. And the more wealthier or the more you win, the higher you go up, the more you have to be shrewd. Like when I read in the Bible where Joseph purchased all this grain, and then I read when the famine happened, he was selling it to the people. And if they didn't have money, he would take their cows. He would take everything. That is a level of ruthlessness right there. You don't have food? Give me all your cows. I give you some grain. Read it. It's in the Bible, right? Joseph was shrewd. You have to be shrewd. And I know a lot of wealthy people, very, very wealthy people. And their level of shrewdness is it is mind-boggling to me. And you have to have that. And that's something that I am developing even to this day. But it's not naturally who I am. I'm a big heart. I'm a giver.
Talk about self-care. What does self-care look like for Shawn Harper?
Self-care for Shawn Harper is something that I need to work on more, to be honest. And it's something that every entrepreneur needs to work on. And for this reason, and I need people to hear this, right? It's like when you experience setbacks, when you experience trauma in the workplace, if you do not take time out, if you do not have it programmed or as an actual workflow to take time off, to take time out from everything and from everyone to recalibrate yourself, it will begin to infect and affect your decisions, and it's not in a positive way. If you allow certain setbacks and traumas to get locked into your psyche, if you're not careful, you will manifest those same traumas or those same situations years to come. Just yesterday, someone tried to rip me off and they stole almost all my contracts in 2008. Just yesterday, I'm on the couch and I'm releasing that again and the emotion that was behind that. And I'm asking myself, well, why now? Well, because I'm looking for another operations manager and that kept coming up. That operations manager is not coming as long as that is in me. Or if it does, I will sabotage it or not even see it. So you have to be able to have a clear sense of self I'm thinking about 90% sure I'm going to do this. I think I'm gonna hop a plane on Sunday, and I'm gonna go to my happy place. I'm gonna go to Newport Beach, California, and just get by the water and just listen and release.
What can we do right now to support your brand and your business?
Share it. Share the Winologist. Share Shawn Harper. Shawn Harper speaker on Instagram. ShawnHarper.org. Just share and allow me to be, or help me to be in the position to help others. That's it.
Talk about redo. What event in your life would you like to redo and why?
I think I would like to, well, I was going to say something and something else jumped in there. I think I would like to redo college. I think I missed a lot. Going to a predominant Big Ten university, Indiana University, I think I left a lot there. Being, caught up in football and being caught up in the fraternity and, just, having that, that myopic, all about me mindset. There was 34,000 students, and I probably networked with maybe a couple thousand, maybe. And to just go back to that moment, that little bubble, right? That little bubble of college where it's just so much freedom and there's so much innocence to where, you know what, man, it's like, who are you? Who are you? Who are you? I mean, think about this for a second. A couple years before I went to IU, do you know who was a student at Indiana University? Mark Cuban. And so I'm like, there's people that you could have connected with, that you could share, that you can learn from, that you can help. And you were caught up with your little clique. And you missed a lot in that moment. You missed a lot. Yeah, that and relive some moments playing professional football. It took the game a bit more serious.
Talk about business continuity. What is your highest risk as a business owner?
The highest risk as a business owner is litigation, because people can create lawsuits, and a lawsuit can attack you on several fronts. First of all, a good lawyer is going to cost you $300, $400 an hour. You got to go through that. Second of all, a discovery and all these questions, and you got to compile tons of information, because they're going to ask for it, your life. They're going to ask for every employee, every this. So now I'm pulling energy and resources to compile this information in a timely manner. The third thing is this thing called Google. So now guess what? Your information or the accusation is in the atmosphere, and it's on social media. And now, whether innocent or guilty in the eyes of public opinion, now it's attacking your brand. And so that's just, and I don't even want to get into me having to get up and go to a daggone deposition, right? And sit there, that takes a lot of time. And to me, time is probably the most valuable commodity that we have. I'll give you money, but I mean, don't take my time.
Shawn, you talk a great deal about winning. That's actually a part of your brand.
Mm-hmm.
Look at the last 30 days and what was your biggest win? Tell us about it.
You know what? I think the last 30 days, my biggest win outside of, just growing with my queen, my wife, and my son, and of course, my relationship with God, is moving people around and creating capacity for growth. To me, that is so important. Spiritual law of capacity, and making definitive moves, and me moving into other areas and bringing other people on to build the capacity for growth and sustainability. That to me was my biggest win, not only in speaking, because I'm a motivational speaker, but for the company as well, building out processes and systems, staffing them for the growth that's coming. Is my greatest win.
And how do you celebrate your wins?
I need to. I'm getting on a plane. I'm going to Newport Beach, California. I need to celebrate my wins more. That is a weakness. we used to have a cake for every contract that we would win. We would have a small little cake, and the office would come, which was huge because it kept their mind, from a neurological standpoint, it kept their mind focused on the win. Even from a subconscious standpoint, it's like the win, the win, the win. But I've gotten away from that. And probably within the last year and a half, this daggone pandemic has done a lot. It has done a lot. And so I'm trying to readjust and retool in that area.
Talk to a younger Shawn. What advice would you give to a younger Shawn?
Him, I keep him on.
Oh, love that. Thank you.
I keep him on my desk, and I look at him and I'm like, it's going to be okay. I look at my younger Shawn and I wink at him. And it's like, you know what? It's going to be okay. It's the product is in the process. Don't get stuck in the process. Offense and unforgiveness keeps you stuck in the process. Don't get stuck in the process. It's going to be okay.
Talk about your top 2 mentors or influencers. However, some people call them influencers, some call them mentors. The name is synonymous.
So my older brother, when my father left, my older brother, second to the oldest, he kind of took over, like alpha male type. And he was a huge influence on my life. His name was Jeff, and he kind of became daddy. And, it's funny because young men will kind of up to a certain age, I think that we're programmed to like mold ourselves after another man. And he was that person. And I would just watch him. I try to walk like he walked. And, it was just awesome. He was a great influence. Another amazing influence, and them collectively were my high school coaches. Man, I tell you what, my mom made me play football. I didn't want to play football. And she said, you need a male influence. I didn't know, I was like, whatever. And these coaches came along, get up, Harper, right. I just started watching these men, and for some reason, coaches, a lot of them are just straight up men. And I was able to but I was able to grow and to watch them and to emulate. And I would encourage every single mom to put your son in sports, to put him in football, basketball, put him in sports. Don't take him out. Do not take him out. Number one, there's a male influence, and there's a good chance he's a positive male influence. Number two, he'll understand teamwork. He'll understand how to win. He'll understand how to lose. He'll understand his role in our selfish and self-centered society. He'll understand the importance of that. He doesn't have to go to the NFL. Don't even put that over his head. It's not about that. Number three, it keeps him out of trouble because there's a community. Now he'll get to the point where, you know what, I can't act up because if I get caught, I'm kicked off the team. There's accountability. And I would like to do a study, because we talk about Black men. I would love to do a study on the percentage of Black men who get in trouble, who don't complete high school, who get kicked out of school, who don't graduate, who are athletes. It's all there.
Give, get. What do you want to give? What do you want to get?
In between give and get is fear for me. And what I mean by that is I got to get it out of me. It's like I mentioned earlier, we are created to produce and reproduce. And the seed that's in me, the seed to encourage, the seed to motivate, the seed to just travel and just pour into people, I got to get it out of me. That's what I want to give. I want to get, of course, there's things I want in life, but I want to get the peace knowing that I'm in his perfect will and that I am giving and I am doing. Because when I'm in my element, when I'm speaking or when I'm preaching at a church or just sharing my life, that's the peace, man. That right there is the peace right there. As soon as I'm finished, I'm like, that's it. That's it. The company, that's not it, man. Even me making money, that's not it. It's it when I leave that stage and it's like, and I feel in my spirit, it's like, yeah, without that, that's what I want.
What have you not done in life that you've dreamed about often that you'd like to do?
I got to get back to Africa. I've always seen myself as a philanthropist. I want to give, but I want to go to Africa. I want to build an orphanage. I want to get some young men, young women, quietly bankroll the entire project without them even knowing. And yeah, that's what I want to do. Of course, I want to open up maybe a couple other companies, not even run them. You just take the revenue and just redistribute it. That's it.
Shawn, someone is listening to this interview and they've gone to your website and they're saying, WIFM, what's in it for me?
I don't want you at the website. I mean, it's just like, if you're going to the website and it's like, okay, what can I get out of it for me? And part of me don't even want you there because I'm like, I don't need this information to be stuck with you. I need just information to carry. I need carriers, okay? I need you to take this. I need to take this and how I'm going to use this to help my students, how I'm going to use it to help people in my church, how I'm going to use it to help people in my office. If you're just going to take the information and eat it and say, okay, this is good for me, I'm gone. I'm like, I don't know. I mean, yeah. But to answer the question at another level is, I want you to realize that you're a winner. You're not stupid. You're not less than. You're not dumb. You're not subservient. That you're a winner. And you got to get it out of you. You got to get what God put in you out of you. You got to be that seed. And you have to die to that before it can grow.
Shawn, if you conducted this interview, what is the one question you would have asked yourself? I want you to ask the question and answer it.
That is a great question. I have never been asked that question. I don't even know how to. Okay. Where's Aaron Shawn? That's my full name, Aaron Shawn. Okay. So I'm like tapping into something else now. I'm going by my Aaron name. Where's Aaron Shawn 5 years from now? Aaron Shawn 5 years from now is, I have a strategic partner who owns a portion of the security company. I handle no day-to-day, and I am traveling the world. And I am speaking, I am coaching, I am mentoring a small select few of people, probably on the same pattern as a Peter Daniel out of Australia or John Maxwell. That's me. And sharing Christ, not so much in words, but in deed.
Absolutely. Let your light shine that others may see your good works and glorify your Father who is in heaven.
All day.
Shawn, we come to the part of our interview. It's called Fun Facts Lightning Round. I'm going to ask you a series of questions that I want you to give me very quick answers. If there's something you desire not to answer, feel free to say pass. Are you ready for the Fun Facts Lightning Round?
Let's go. Come on.
Your first job.
Paperboy.
Your favorite color.
Purple.
The last movie you saw.
Don't remember.
Your favorite singer or rapper.
Wow. I love Black Thought and singers Marvin Gaye / Otis Redding. You
relax doing what?
Sitting on the couch.
What food you eat every week, no matter what?
Pizza.
Your favorite dance song?
I don't know. Maybe Rump Shaker, old school, like 1990, something like that. I don't know.
Your favorite month?
I love May, April, May. No, I take that back. I'm sorry. October. It's perfect. Love it.
Workout or hit the couch?
Workout.
Shawn Harper, thank you so much for joining us on Black Entrepreneur Experience Podcast. Before we let you go, why don't you share with our audience the best way for them to connect with you, and feel free to leave all your social media handles.
Okay. So the best way to connect with me is, first and foremost, you go to shawnharper.org. That's ShawnHarper.org. You can go to Shawn Harper Speaker on Instagram and Winning by Design on Facebook. But I have a gift for your audience, and I'm going to take this down probably within the next month or two. If you go to shawnharper.co, ShawnHarper.co, and your information, it's just your email, you'll get a free copy of my book, The Winning Edge. And it's 8 principles that will bring out the winner in you. And I focus a lot on spiritual laws. I break rules, but I never break laws. And I just wanted to share it.
Thank you, Shawn. We appreciate you. That's a wrap.
Thank you for listening and subscribing to Black Entrepreneur Experience. We would love for you to leave a review and rating on iTunes and share with your friends. For show notes and more episodes, go to www.beepodcast.com. Join us next Wednesday, and remember, green is the new black. So keep your bank accounts and your business in the black.